Blue Hybrids is a deck that I am just fascinated by. This relic of the BT7 era is arguably the most adaptable and enduring deck in the history of the Digimon TCG, but it's also showing its age. So before Bandai drops some new support and radically changes the way the deck is played, I wanted to give you all a snapshot into what the most compelling pile in the game has to offer. Let's start with the basic concept. Blue hybrids, like hybrids of any color, are a special class of Digimon with the ability to digivolve over tamers. Most of them are level 4s with a handful of level 5s that don't necessarily evolve from tamers themselves, but reward you for having a tamer in their sources by digivolving on the cheap. Hybrid decks allow your tamer cards to basically do double duty, providing resources such as memory or card draw, while also keeping difficult to interact with bodies in reserve for a swing or to create a very efficient stack. And with the main hybrid cards being level 4s and level 5s, you can keep fairly low to the ground and be more resilient than a traditional stack-based deck. What makes blue hybrids in particular very good is how generic they are. Most of the BT7 hybrid cards lack inheritables and don't really punish you for not evolving off of their preferred tamers. Being able to digivolve over any blue tamer allows you to really toolbox your deck and tailor your resource engine to the meta. And since most hybrid packages are quite compact collections of level 4s and level 5s, you have a lot of room to play non-engine cards or even accommodate an entire secondary archetype. Now, in terms of what blue hybrids can offer you as an engine, there are basically two bases you can look at: Tommy and Koji. Koji is the less competitive of the two at the moment, offering the ability to become unblockable, swing with jamming, and become a bit more memory efficient when using searchers and draw triggers. Your notable cards here are, of course, BT7 Koji, BT7 GabuBond, and BT7 BeowulfMon. More on that last card in a bit. And while not technically related to Koji, BT12 Leomon basically supports his strategy by allowing you to tuck sources and gain jamming for the turn. Although, if you want to play the BT4 Leomon alt-art, no judgment, fantastic card. Then we have the Tommy base, which was so dominant competitively that Tommy himself was limited to 1 for a very long time. This package gives you the ability to strip your opponent's Digivolution sources and freeze sourceless Digimon in place, preventing them from attacking or blocking. Your notable cards here are BT7 Kumamon, BT7 Korikakumon, and of course BT7 Tommy-Himi. Now, technically the conventional blue hybrids package is Tommy's core cards, but Koji at least contributes his level 5, with BeowulfMon acting as a resource engine of sorts and removal, thanks to its ability to bounce a hybrid from its own sources to bounce enemy level 4s and below. BeowulfMon also costs 1 to digivolve if there's a blue tamer in the sources, which makes it a fantastic bridge into generic blue level 6s. There are also a handful of rookies you can use if your secondary archetype doesn't need its level 3 slots too badly. All of the rookies here are Strabumons, with the BT4 version serving as a searcher for hybrids and blue tamers generically, the BT6 version allowing you to gain a memory on the swing if you are attacking with a hybrid, and the BT7 one digging for hybrids, Koji, or Susanomon. And that's basically it. Combine that with some good generic blue tamers like BT3 Davis as a memory setter and searcher, and BT5 Sora-Jo as a source strip support and memory engine, and you're basically good to go. And if your secondary archetype happens to run a dedicated blue tamer like Ulforce with Rina or Leomon with Jerry, then you've got even more synergy to work with. So now that you understand the basics of the engine, let's look at a sample list to understand how blue hybrids can actually support another archetype. I figured UlforceVeedramon would be a good point of reference for players who joined the game in the last few sets, especially since it's an archetype that is quite generic itself, and wants to play a lot of blue tamers to support its strategy. Now, looking quickly at the boss monster, UlforceVeedramon has the effect to play a tamer when digivolving, and then you have the ability to bounce a Digimon with the level you can bounce, scaling in proportion to how many blue tamers you have in play. Oh, and it unsuspends every time you play a blue tamer. So yeah, the synergy with blue hybrids is quite clear. Ulforce gets tamers in play to provide bodies for your hybrids, and helps you control the board alongside those hybrids. It also acts as a powerful finisher, allowing you to swing multiple times and bridge to other finishers such as Ulforce X, or meta-appropriate level 7s such as Omnimon Merciful Mode, who is very handy into the Numemon and Leviamon matchups, if I do say so myself. In this particular case, we don't really need our level 5, allowing Beowulfmon to be our main bridge to Ulforce. And that does leave a little space left over to accommodate Zudomon Ace as some very handy spot removal. We also have one good rookie that we can use here from Ulforce's archetype, which is BT11Vmon, who searches for blue tamers and Veedramons on play. And we actually have a way to make a proper Ulforce stack with him, thanks to Leomon tucking him into her sources. Finally, we can accommodate a few copies of Ulforce's archetypal tamer, Rina Shinomiya, who helps Ulforce combo off by allowing it to trigger its when digivolving effect multiple times, and thus unsuspend over and over again. She's also great to slam down and turn Ulforce into an evading blocker in a pinch. And with all of the deck space we still have, we have room for a couple of Sorai, which complements Tommy's Source Strip and Freeze game plan, and helps Ulforce clear protected stacks, as well as BT14 Gomamon, who offers targeted Source Strip, an unblockable swing, and a free body if your stack goes boom. And again, this guy is super tuckable thanks to BT12 Leomon. At the end of the day, most blue hybrid lists will essentially look like this, with a Tommy core supporting a boss monster and maybe one of its associated rookies, alongside Zudomon Ace and, maybe a couple of Floodgates if you have the space in the rookie slot. The differences really come down to your tamer choice outside of the staples of Tommy, Sorajo, and Davis. The ratio of those tamers, of course, and what your secondary archetype or boss monster are actually going to be. Now, I will say that blue hybrids might not always make for a better engine than what your own archetype can offer. A traditional Ulforce stack build, for example, that happens to run 2 to 3 hybrids, will usually have a higher ceiling and can close out games quicker. You want to complement Ulforce with blue hybrids if you're looking to play more of a mid-range game, dictating the tempo of the match and ensuring that you don't auto-lose to security bombs, among other things. And of course, that won't necessarily be the same for every archetype that you pair with blue hybrids, but hopefully this gives you some idea of what these cards can offer. Now, this is obviously a very, very brief look at what blue hybrids can actually accomplish as a deck and as an engine. And, I will be upfront with you guys and tell you that you're going to have to invest a lot more time into matchup knowledge for these cards because of their relative age and fairness compared to everything else out there as of at least BT15. But once you really wrap your head around what these cards can do, the results are quite rewarding. And, at the end of the day, you can totally claim bragging rights because you won with a deck from BT7.